Chapter 4, The Beast Attacks. As soon as I stepped into the house, Mom stormed out of her office, a sheaf of tax papers forgotten in one hand. "Lucas! Lucas Clark! I want to talk to you." Oh no, had she found Steggy? I put down my backpack with a thump and slipped off my runners, watching her out of the corner of my eye. "Your room is a complete mess. I brought up your clean laundry, and your room is a disaster. I didn't even try to clean it up. If you want your room to be private, there are going to be some rules. Number 1, keep it clean. Number 2, bring your dirty laundry to the laundry room every morning. Number 3, no food in your room. Number 4, put away your clean laundry. Is that perfectly clear?" I stood there, petrified. Of her, of course. My mom's scary when she's mad. Maybe I should sick her on Kyle. But even more than that, I was petrified that she had seen something. What if she had found out Steggy was alive? I squeaked, "Sorry, Mom. Yeah, I'll clean it all up, and I'll follow the rules. I promise." She stomped back into her office, looking disappointed she couldn't yell at me anymore, and I raced upstairs. My room wasn't that bad, was it? It was. It was totally trashed. Bedding dragged off the bed, pillows spewing feathers, models knocked off the shelves. What had happened? The Sinornithosaurus was sitting on the windowsill, just where I'd left him, facing the window. Where was Steggy? Could he have done all this? I searched my room and finally found him under my table, cowering inside the dinosaur kit box. The edge was damaged. It looked like it had been chewed. I reached inside to pull Steggy out. He roared and growled. "Hey, it's okay," I said in a soft voice. I laid my hand inside the box so he could sniff it. "It's just me." "What have you been doing? My room is a total mess. How could you do this all by yourself?" Well, I spoke. I slid my hand under his belly and pulled him forward. Then something hit my back. I dropped Steggy and leapt up, but whatever it was clung to me, scratching and clawing. I screamed and shook it loose. I could hear it drop to the floor behind me. I spun around, and my new Sinornithosaurus reared up on the rug, screeching. He launched himself at me again, raking his claws down my arm. I grabbed a book and beat him back. When he was on the floor on the far side of the bed, I dashed out the door, slamming it behind me. I leaned against it, panting, while he screamed and clawed at the door. What had I done? I remembered how Steggy had been on the first day and how thirsty he was. Maybe the Sinornithosaurus was hungry. I dashed downstairs and checked out the fridge. Cheese, milk, bread. He was a carnivore. Was there any meat? I found some sliced roast beef for sandwiches. I grabbed 5 slices, some lettuce for Steggy, a bowl and glass of water. Then I crept back up the stairs, hoping Mom wouldn't see me taking food up. "Lucas, what's with all the noise?" Mom called from her office. "I'm practicing something for school," I said, praying she wouldn't get up from her desk. "Just keep it to a dull roar, would you?" Usually, I hate tax season, when Mom is too busy for anything but work. But for once, I was thankful her desk was piled high with tax forms. The scratches on my back stung as I slipped upstairs. I paused at the door, listening to figure out if it was safe to go in. I heard thumping, then shrieks. "Steggy! I'd forgotten about him." I yanked open the door and rushed into the room, sloshing water into my socks. The Sinornithosaurus was rearing and hissing, his teeth viciously sharp, his claws like daggers. Steggy was cornered, head down, plates deflecting the blows. I was so glad I'd made them strong. Steggy turned and swung his tail at the beast. He landed a hit I could hear, a huge thump. The spikes dragged down the beast's front leg. The beast shrieked and backed off, blood beading along the cut. They stood panting, staring at each other. I dropped the meat into the bowl, put it on the floor, and used a book to push it close to the beast. Steggy stayed on the alert, tail swishing. The beast jerked his head to the side for a moment, and then again as he sniffed. He backed away from Staggy, strode over to the bowl, and lunged at the meat. He really didn't eat it. He ripped and tore and dismembered it, meat hanging from his mouth, bits flying when he shook pieces to tear them. It reminded me of nature shows where lions tear antelopes apart, except this was smaller and on my bedroom rug. My stomach heaved. There was no way I was eating meat for dinner. Once the beast had devoured the meat, I poured some water into the bowl. He lapped it up, then he lay down beside the bowl with a sigh and fell asleep. He looked kind of sweet sleeping. I carried Staggy outside to eat, away from the beast. By the time he'd grazed for half an hour on new grass, he'd stopped shaking. I hadn't. The beast slept all evening. I pushed him over the wall so I wouldn't bump into him by accident. Then I made a safe nest for Staggy inside the dinosaur knit box. Then I went to bed, wondering how I was going to cope with 2 dinosaur pets. I didn't sleep long. In the middle of the night, something landed on my head with a screech. I threw up my hands and yanked it off. It was the beast. He didn't like being grabbed. He attacked, teeth and claws scratching my face and tearing my pajamas. I leapt out of bed, trying to beat him off with my pillow. Feathers flew across the room. Finally, I pinned him between my pillow and the bed. I scooped him up with the pillow, flung the beast and the pillow into my closet, and slammed the doors shut. He launched himself at the doors, roaring and screeching. I could hear his claws raking down the wood. I pushed my dresser in front of the closet doors, pinning them shut. I didn't want that thing escaping. I didn't sleep again. I lay in my bed listening to every bump and howl, all the scratches on my body stinging. What was I going to do? What I finally did was slide meat on a plastic lid under the closet doors twice every day. I used a straw to fill another plastic lid with water. I wore the same jeans for 2 weeks because I didn't dare go into my closet for new ones. I wore long sleeve shirts every day. I figured Mom and Dad and Miss Dubois would be okay with scratches on my hands. But if they saw my arms, they'd start to ask questions. And I put a new sign on my door. Special project underway. Private. Stay out. Mom and Dad, this means you. I know the rules. Every day when I fed the beast, he scrabbled to get at my fingers under the closet doors, and every day I had to get a new straw after he attacked and shredded the one I was using. I could have just let him starve and die of thirst, but that seemed too cruel, even for a monster. Sometimes he'd pull the plastic lids too far away for me to reach. Then I'd have to send in a new one. After a while, my room began to smell of rotting meat and dinosaur poop, but I didn't dare go into the closet to clean it up. I learned to turn on my radio whenever I fed him, or whenever he was noisy, which was a lot of the time. Otherwise, Mom and Dad would bang on the door and ask exactly what my special project involved. Just practicing dinosaur cries, I said. Staggy became quieter and quieter. The only time he seemed happy was when I took him outside. He loved grazing on fresh grass and the shoots of plants coming up in the garden. I started to like being at school more than being at home. That was weird. Even Kyle didn't seem so awful. And then, one Friday morning, I couldn't find my jeans. I'd been dropping them on the floor every night and pulling them on again in the morning, but they were gone. The closet was still blocked by my dresser, so the beast couldn't have done it. Staggy was snoring in his box. Mom, oh no, laundry. I raced downstairs. Sure enough, my jeans were whirling around in the washer in a flurry of soap bubbles. I looked down. I was wearing pajamas. Little dinosaurs danced down my legs. Definitely not for Kyle's eyes. Could I convince Mom I was sick? You'll have to wear something else today, her voice announced from behind me. I spun around. She smiled. Your jeans will be clean and dry tomorrow. Today, you need to choose something else. She pushed me toward the stairs. Go on. I dragged myself up the stairs, considering my options. Wear dinosaur pajamas to school? Kyle would love that. Convince Mom I was too sick to go to school until my jeans were dry? No chance. Tell her about my dinosaurs? She'd never believe me, because they were just models to her. I'd only be in more trouble. Could I ask her to go into my closet? But she'd see the mess and never let me keep my door closed. Then the beast would tear apart the whole house when Mom and Dad weren't looking. Maybe I could just throw myself out my window and break a leg. Then I wouldn't have to go to school. But I'd have to stay home with the beast. I finally decided that I had to go into the closet. I shut my door, turned on the radio, and packed Steggy away inside 2 boxes so he'd be totally out of reach of the beast. I pulled on an old sweatshirt and tugged on a pillowcase like a helmet, the pillow still inside. I unpacked one of my plastic boxes to drop on top of him. I pushed my dresser to one side and picked up the plastic container. Taking a deep breath, I pulled open the closet doors, ready to drop the box on top of the beast. But he was too fast. In a flash, he was out of the closet, racing around the room, hissing and clawing. He must have smelled Steggy because he attacked Steggy's boxes with a roar. I chased after him with my container, dropping it down on him, but I only caught one leg. He yanked it free and turned on me. The pillow protected my head, but he scratched my cheeks, clawed holes in my sweatshirt, and tore right through my pajama pants. Finally, I trapped him with the plastic container while he was trying to shred my feet. I stood with one foot on top of the box, ignoring his shrieks, while I pulled jeans and clean pajamas out of my closet. Then, I scooped out all the plastic lids and bits of rotting meat and pushed the plastic box inside the closet. But how was I going to get it off him and still keep him trapped? Maybe I could just leave him in it. I sighed. It really was too small. I wasn't that mean, even if he was. I pulled the closet doors almost shut. Then I used a ruler to flip over the box. While the beast attacked the doors, I pulled them shut and dragged my dresser back into place. Finally, I sat on my bed with a thump and checked out the damage. Sweatshirt and pajama bottoms, trashed. Steggy, safe. Room, stinking of meat. I opened the window and bagged up the garbage. Me, I snuck into the bathroom to check. Scratched face, arms, chest, and legs. Bleeding feet, I scrubbed and sprayed all the scrapes. We were almost out of antiseptic spray. I'd have to make up a story for Mom. Luckily, she was drowning in tax returns, so she might not pay attention. I pulled on clean jeans and a long-sleeve shirt, even though it was nice out. Nothing else would cover my scratches. Then I made up a story at breakfast. "What happened to your face?" Mom asked, turning my head to examine my cheek. "I tripped and fell," I said. "I tore my dinosaur pajama pants, too. I know you're busy right now. You don't have to try to fix them. I have others." She looked at me puzzled. I was usually fanatical about anything with dinosaurs on them, but she really was busy, so she let it go and went back to making coffee. "I cleaned the scrape," I said. "We're almost out of antiseptic spray." "I'll put it on the shopping list," she said, jotting on the list in the fridge. Then she stood, pencil in hand, looking around the kitchen. "Coffee," I said. "You were making coffee." She smiled. "Thanks, hon. I'm a little distracted these days." "I know," I said. "Tax season." But I guess she wasn't as distracted as I thought. After dinner, I heard her talking to Dad. "I called Lucas's teacher today, Miss Dubois. I'm worried he doesn't have any friends. Miss Dubois says he's a nice boy who gets along well with most of the kids. Dad said, he's just quiet, don't worry so much." But I do worry, and Miss Dubois agreed to help. She said there's another boy in class who doesn't seem to have any close friends, and she'll try to encourage them to work together. Kyle, I thought as I listened from the stairs. He was the only other kid in the class who didn't have friends. Everyone was afraid of him, afraid they'd become his next target. I couldn't cope with Kyle and the beast, and since I couldn't do anything about Kyle, I was going to have to get rid of the beast, somehow.